people here at Unicoi Gap. Gonna head down towards Hogpen Gap. So my intent was to actually come from Hogpen Gap up to Unicoi Gap, but the road was closed by Hogpen Gap today, so came up to Unicoi Gap, parked there, heading towards Hogpen for that reason. That makes it a little bit of a different hike. This is kind of a big climb at the beginning, although that'll be nice coming back tomorrow. I'm gonna level off. I got a little bit up and down this evening, probably before I strike camp, and I'm coming out today with a 9.8 pound base weight. So right in that ultralight zone with my camp chair that I brought, which is a pound of that 9.8. So I'm pretty pleased about that. I've got temperatures in the low 70s. I should get down to the high 50s tonight, so really good hiking weather. As usual, I'm started late. We got about an hour before sunset. Pretty steep going uphill at the beginning here. So this part of the trail is right next to Helen, Georgia, which is this cool little town that has kind of German architecture, kind of famous in Georgia for its Oktoberfest festival. They've got a beer tent and bratwurst set up, and you can come and enjoy some polka music, German food, walk around the little town with the German architecture in this gorgeous area right at the edge of the Appalachian Trail. So if you're interested in a little weekend hike coming out of Unicoi Gap from Helen, there's a great opportunity for you. It may be hard to see up there, but there's kind of a bright spot in the middle of the video right here. That is sort of a break in the trees up ahead, so I'm guessing I am nearing at least the edge of this ridge. It's possible I'll come around to the left of it, or I'll come out and flatten out at the top of it. So we've been flattening out significantly now. Pretty nice walking right here as we are at the top of the ridge. All right, there's the sunset. You climb up out of Unicoi Gap. The first peak you rise to is Blue Mountain. I'm rewarded with this gorgeous sunset. All right, I just had some dinner. This was kung pao chicken. It's pretty tasty. You can see my pack. I've got my food bag in there. I've got my stove ready to go. Drink some water. And I've got a little spider friend. There's a web right there. He's been patiently waiting for me to leave and head on down the trail over there. This has been a beautiful spot. Goes down off the ridge on both sides, and the moon has come up. And now that I've eaten, let's get hiking. Good morning. It's about 7:15. Sunrise is at 7:30, but there's a lot of moonlight. I've been a pretty full moon on this hike, so pretty bright through some of the night. A few times it was shining due to its position, like right through the tree cover that I had, and really bright on the tent. I am going to get up and get going because I have a ninja competition today. It's part of a doubleheader. I had one on Friday night. Today is Sunday, so it's yesterday. Yesterday I got out and started the hike. Today, I'll finish up and get down to the Atlanta area for my ninja competition. 7:37, all packed up. Let's get hiking. You can see the mist. It's going to need to burn off with the sunrise that should have happened a few minutes ago. But it gives the trail a nice, soft, quiet feeling this morning. is is if you don't trip over a stick on the path. Look at this cool tree. So I've hiked just maybe a quarter mile or so past where I camped last night to this spot, which I think is probably, it's on the map labeled as Cold Springs, and this must be it right here because you can see by this tree here, it looks like some water probably seeps out at wetter times of year from there, and then it's sort of rocky coming down and across the trail and then down the hill. So this is where I intended to come based on my planning from last night so that I can turn around and make sure I have plenty of time to get back to my ninja competition. It's unfortunate. This is a beautiful stretch of trail. It's going to be nice and level if I were to continue on for a nice good stretch here, and it would just be easy, beautiful warm-up hiking. But I'm going to turn around and head back towards the car. There's also supposed to be a campsite at Cold Springs. This is a short distance away from that seat by the tree. I don't really see where the campsite is, but it looks like there's a little clearing between the trees here, and the map shows it's up in there. It's pretty overgrown, maybe not used very often. I'm going to be going on the main trail over here. So the first section of trail coming back from Cold Springs towards Unicoi Gap is sort of a nice, long, easy downhill towards where I camped last night. That gentle downhill has continued, and now I'm nearly back at my campsite from last night. It took me about a half hour to go a little further and come back, including some stopping time for a little videoing with you all. That leaves me about 3 hours to get back to the car, which is what I was hoping. Last night it took about 3 hours to get in, although 2 of those hours were night hiking and pretty slow. So I should be significantly faster this morning. I wanted to leave myself enough time to eat some breakfast, have some snacks and relaxation on the way back. So after that downhill out of Cold Springs, I am heading towards Chattahoochee Gap. And it'll be a fair bit of uphill here. It's not real steep, but good section of uphill to Chattahoochee Gap, which has a gorgeous campsite at it and water nearby. I would have probably stayed there last night, but it was already taken by some lucky hikers. As you may have noticed, although it is September 30th, the foliage here isn't really starting to turn yet. There are some leaves on the ground that have fallen recently, but it's just individual leaves. So in a couple of weeks, going on this next month, I imagine it'll be absolutely beautiful up here. Water. Gotta love it. Although getting this water, I had to go down quite steeply from Chattahoochee Gap campsite to get it. I actually grabbed it from that little pool there because it was deep enough to get some water in my bottle. So the folks at the Chattahoochee campsite, the Chattahoochee Gap campsite, which is just up that way, we're still there this morning, so I'm not videoing right by them, but that's a special spot. Where I was filming with the water is actually the headwaters of the Chattahoochee River, which is a mighty river by the time you get down to Atlanta. So this next section here is a nice gentle down from the Chattahoochee Gap campsite down to Red Clay Gap, where you also have a campsite. I'm not sure if it's marked as a campsite at Red Clay Gap, but people have definitely camped there. So sort of a easy stretch. Allows you to keep your legs stretched out and just enjoy the walk without worrying about too many foot obstacles in your way. coming on to Red Clay Gap. Foliage has changed to a lot of rhododendron. Here's Red Clay Gap. Looks like there's a marker there for water. Not sure how far down that one is. Maybe that would have been a better choice than the steep one I did at the headwaters of the Chattahoochee, but I have to say, getting water at the headwaters of the Chattahoochee was pretty cool. Hey again, so between Red Clay Gap and Henson Gap, which is where I'm headed, we kind of just take the route around the edge of a mountain at a somewhat steady elevation. There's some rocky sections in there though. Right now I'm on a pretty smooth section, which is a lot easier for filming, a lot safer. Maybe I'll be able to get some images of some of the rocky sections coming up between here and Henson Gap to show you what that's like. Some of these rocky sections have pretty good holes in them. This right here is down about 2 feet. This rock right here. Gotta be careful with your footing. Well, I just passed Henson Gap and met a couple of unfortunate hikers. Of the pair, a woman had apparently set her pack down on a hornet's nest and she got at least 3 stings. In any case, I am headed up now towards the Blue Mountain shelter, and then a ways after that will be Blue Mountain. That's where I plan to take a break. I just had a wonderful snack on top of Blue Mountain, and I'm headed back down to the car. This is pretty much all downhill from here to Unicoi Gap. And there you have it. Unicoi Gap toward Hogpen Gap, stopping at Cold Springs. Done.